This might be a pattern in your life that you can relate to. Each year you get out your list of life areas. You set a bunch of SMART goals against all of these life areas. You chuck in some James Clear Atomic Habits voodoo because it has to be done. You do it by the book. You do it exactly how everyone tells you to do it. Then comes February, you're sitting down, you are cringing at your past self for setting a goal to become an active person as you skip the gym the 4th week in a row. Or you're having a laugh at your past self who decided to do a sober year as you sip your yummy cocktail. Then your birthday will roll around, or New Year's will roll around, or some important date will roll around and you'll do it all again. And this time you'll be like, it'll be different. This time it's gonna work. But it doesn't. I have read so many books and so many articles on goal setting and creating new habits. And one of the biggest lessons that I have learned is that the traditional advice that's out there works really well for a certain type of person. And the advice that's out there doesn't work very well for another type of person. My philosophy when things don't work for you is not to try harder, but to try different. And in this video, I want to talk about things that you can do differently when it comes to goal setting and habit setting that often people either don't do or you just don't hear about. These are strategies to try when the advice that you've heard just isn't quite cutting it. Pop to create flexibility. One thing that you really won't see people talking about when it comes to goal setting and sticking to your habits is flexibility, because generally it's looked down upon. Real achievers set goals, stick to their goals no matter what, don't break the chain. They are rigid, they are disciplined. When it comes to goal setting and habits, inflexibility is what is praised the most in our society. The people who often, not always, represent this lifestyle are single, or they have someone in the household that takes care of a lot of the mental work / domestic work. They have money, they are blessed with consistent mental and physical health. They're neurotypical, and they really enjoy structure, consistency, routine. We love those people. In fact, we want to be those people. But what we tend to do is when we don't fit into that mold precisely, we still design our goals and our habits based off of that mold. You set goals that are inflexible. You rely on self-discipline and consistency, and then you are shocked when it doesn't come through for you. If that's where you are, try using the POP acronym for flexibility. So in Michelle Segar's book, The Joy Choice, which is a great book, she recommends using this acronym. It sounds really basic until you start using it and you realize that it works. Michelle talks about choice points. So it's Saturday, you planned on working on your book all morning, but then your friend calls you up and they're like, hi, I want to go thrifting. It's a toughie. Is it though? Or you plan on waking up at 6, working out for an hour, but then your sleep is really, really bad and it's not looking good. These are unexpected conflicts or choice points, and POP is the process that you follow when you reach these choice points. Pause, open up and play, and pick the joy choice. So pause is taking a breath, looking at yourself from an outsider's perspective, chucking on the mindfulness, noticing your thoughts and feelings. Then open up your options and play. So when things like this come up, usually we have an either or frame, which is one of the worst frames that you can have when you are making a decision. So either I work on my book all morning, or I go and I thrift. Either I wake up at 6 a.m. and do my workout, or I sleep in and I don't work out. Really limited frames. Having flexibility in these moments is a life-changing skill, and it is a skill, it's something that you build up. So instead of either I go thrifting or I work on my book, add 3 more options to your plate. So either I work on my book, or I go thrifting, or I ask my friend if she's free in the afternoon so that I can work on my book all morning, or I go thrifting for an hour, I come back, I work on my book, or I go thrifting, I go to my absolute favorite cafe, so I'm still feeling inspired in the arvo, I do some work on my book. The last P in POP is pick the joy choice. So pick the choice that gives you the most joy. This advice is simple, but if used can be life-changing, and also it's very much like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. Document your experiments. So you've set a goal to save 5K. There are a few different ways to do that. You could get a little side hustle. You could start selling random upcycled furniture on Facebook Marketplace. You could start doing the envelope method. You could buy the Barefoot Investor and join all of those Facebook groups for the Barefoot Investor. There are many of them. There are so many different pathways that you can choose to go down in order to save 5K. And even widening your frame and thinking of all of those different pathways that you could take to get to your goal is one step ahead of a lot of people. Most people would would go, okay, I need to save for 5K. The traditional way of saving is strict budgeting and putting aside money every single week. Therefore, that is what I'm going to do. There are so many different pathways that you can go down to achieve the goals that you have in mind. And it's not about persecuting yourself because a specific pathway doesn't work for you. It's about finding the right pathway that does work for you. Because there's a pathway out there that's going to be so much more aligned than maybe the ones you've decided to choose before. So when you start each goal, set the intention that you will document your paths. And have it in your mind that it's almost inevitable that you will switch paths. That there's a 50-50 chance that the path you picked isn't the right path for you. To really take action on this, write in your goals journal, okay, path 1 or experiment 1. Doing the envelope method to save my 5K. Make notes on how it's going, how it's making you feel. If you find yourself struggling, write down, okay, it's feeling a bit restrictive. I feel myself rebelling against this particular pathway. And when you get to the point where you're like, yeah, I don't think this is working for me, go, okay, well, what's another pathway that I can take? And so on and so forth until you find the right path that works. I did a poll on Instagram recently where I asked people, how long did it take you to find a type of exercise that you enjoyed? And 48% of people answered that it took them 3 to 5 years to find the right path of exercise for them that they enjoyed. By documenting your experiences, expecting yourself to switch paths, it's so much more self-compassionate and it makes it so much more likely that you're going to stick to your goal. So one of my favorite ways to do goals differently is to automate them and find tools that help me to do them with ease. This video is brought to you by Canva, a tool that does exactly that. I, like every other creator on this planet Earth, live, die, breathe for Canva. I use it to create the titles in this video, like this and this and this, as well as the Instagram posts that I pop up, like this and this. I also use it to schedule all of my posts on my Intention Instagram, or my VA will schedule them via Canva. We love Emma. So from Canva, you can now upload, edit, and share your photos in one place so that you don't need to jump from app to app. So I can hop in, create a thumbnail for this video, adjust the contrast, use the background remover tool, which I use all the time to make myself pop, do the design side of things by adding text without moving between tools. On top of that, Canva also has a content scheduler, so you really don't need to leave the app to design your feeds. Whether you are getting creative outside or at home, you can edit and share your photos with Canva. It has all of these beautiful assets, about 100 million-ish to be clear. You get stock footage, stock videos, as well as photos, animations, icons. Canva is so easy to use, anyone could pick it up. There's really not very much of a learning curve at all. Team up and save with Canva Pro. For just $12.95 a month for up to 5 people, you and your team can unlock everything that Pro has to offer, and you can get a free 45-day trial using the link in the description down below. So go ahead, use the link in my description, get your free 45-day trial, one goal at a time. So in the book Traction, he talks about how the biggest mistake that he sees people making is setting way too many goals. He had this one particular client who every single year would get overly excited and would set like 12 to 15 goals every year. And without fail, by the end of the year, that person would be disappointed and they'd be like, oh, why didn't I achieve all of these goals? Until one day they decided to switch it up. So in the 3rd year, this guy finally decided that they were just going to set 3 goals for the year. So by the end of this year, they increased their sales by 19% and they had their most profitable year in 5 years. There is this small but loud part of me that always thinks, but if I have more goals, surely that's just casting the net wider. Like there's more potential for me to achieve more things. Shoot for the moon, land in the stars, etc. Not quite. So there was one study done on agricultural and factory workers living in India who earned a pretty decent wage and had a pretty decent lifestyle. And these people all wanted to save. So they split these people into 2 groups. One group had a really specific savings goal, so to earn a certain amount for their kids' college tuition fees. Another group was asked to choose multiple saving goals. So not only were they saving for their college tuition fees, they were also saving for retirement, for potential future holidays, healthcare needs, etc. The group with only one goal on their mind saved double that of the group with multiple goals. The researchers concluded that the reason that having multiple goals can be less effective is because it reduces your mental bandwidth. Every time you would go to put some money in your retirement savings account, you'd be thinking, oh, well, that's money that hasn't gone into my college tuition account. You'd have to make a decision every time about where you wanted everything to go as well, about what you wanted to spend more energy on. And just that mental energy being spent would reduce your ability to actually actually achieve your goals. I know that I get this with my goals and my projects. I'm like, oh, well, if I work on that, then I'm not working on this goal over here. And when I do that, I'm saying that that goal is less important. It's just this cognitive load, this mental work going on in the background that wouldn't be there if you had far fewer goals. If you have gone for multiple years setting a bunch of goals, so like 12 to 15, like the guy from the first example, try just setting one or just setting 3. If you're someone who just can't fathom having only one thing to work for or only 2 or 3 things to work for, try setting yourself one most important goal and then some other nice to have goals. So sort of do that mental work up front, as in this goal, this most important goal takes precedence. It is the most important. It's the one that I will always opt to work on over all of my other goals. But it'd be nice if I could achieve those goals. So look, if I get extra time and I'm way ahead on that one most important goal, then I will work on those other little goals. The key is to make sure that you actually treat those secondary goals as secondary goals so they don't dilute your focus. Add goals hour to your schedule. So often when people are told to create accountability, it's a form of accountability that I'd call check-in accountability. So, hey, have you done this? You find someone, a friend, a stranger, an app that asks, have you completed that goal? And some people will rebel from that type of accountability naturally because it feels kind of naggy. If you don't like being told what to do, it's not ideal. The alternative is alongside accountability. Co-working style accountability. Still trying to think of a better name for it. So having a goals hour a few times a week, or even just a 15-minute session that you do every single day alongside someone else who is also working on their goals, that's alongside accountability. It's like going to the gym with a friend versus having a friend ask you every day, hey, did you go to the gym like you said you would? You might even work on completely different goals to your co-working partner, but the idea is that you work on them together. Treat new habits or goals like daily tasks. So in Stephen Guys' book Momentum, he talks about how most people fail their goals because they think that they have momentum built before they actually do have momentum. So they'll do something for a week and then they'll be like, sweet, now I can coast because this is a habit. One of the biggest mindset shifts that you need to make is treating any of the habits associated with your goals as tasks. So habits, to be clear, are tasks that come with a feeling of compulsion. So for example, if I fell asleep and I hadn't brushed my teeth, I woke up at 12, I'd probably go to the bathroom even though it's freezing, even though I wouldn't want to, because I would feel a compulsion to brush my teeth. They are tasks that you feel weird not doing. So for example, if I got up, I went on a nature walk with a friend and I skipped my morning decaf coffee. When I got home, I would have my morning decaf coffee anyways because I'd be like, that's such a part of my ritual. It feels weird that I haven't integrated it into my day. And they're tasks that don't feel like they have much willpower associated with them. You do them pretty automatically. Any new habit or behavior is a task. Eventually it might become a habit, but you're better off treating it like a task first. And with tasks, there's no reason to assume that you'll do them naturally. You don't naturally do your to-do list. You push yourself to do your to-do list each day. Practice the habit before the habit. So something that writers often do to keep themselves going is they'll stop mid-sentence. They will stop when they are on a writer's high. They'll be like, I'm so filled with excitement. I'm loving this. Okay, I'm gonna stop. They want to hold on to that excitement. They want to be able to carry that into the next day. They also want their subconscious to like mull over things, I'm sure. But they also want to make sure that the next day they're like, yes, I want to write the rest of this page. One way that you can practice something similar with your habits that are attached to your goals is by practicing the habit before the habit and not letting yourself actually do the habit for at least a month or 2. Every habit has a habit that precedes it. So for example, writing a page a day might have a habit before the habit of sitting down, lighting a candle, opening up Obsidian. Going to the climbing gym 3 times a week might have a habit before the habit of getting dressed into your climbing stuff and sitting in your car ready to drive. To build any kind of behavior, it's really that habit before the habit that you want to make automatic. Like that's the thing that you want to focus on turning into a proper habit. Because once you've got that habit before the habit down, everything tends to flow from there. The habit before the habit is really the push down the hill. Once you've been pushed, you're probably going to keep on rolling. So instead of doing what you usually do, which is moving straight into doing a full-on activity at a set number of times per week, try practicing just the habit before the habit. This is something that I think is a big struggle to most people, mainly because of impatience. People are like, no, I wouldn't do that. I want to dive straight in. Like I want to start my goals. Firstly, consider whether that's worked for you before. And if it hasn't, then consider restricting yourself to just performing the habit before the habit. It'll almost get to a point where you're just like, okay, like I'm excited to actually start doing this behavior. If you liked this video, you're going to like my video on how to do hard things. It's all about how to do tasks that you're feeling a lot of resistance towards. So it's pretty relevant to this video. I'm gonna have that linked on the screen as well as down below. I really like that video. I appreciate you so very much, and I will see you soon.